Prior to the comprehensive guidance of the procedure, here are some pre-treatment instructions that the medical staff should be aware of for a safe and more accurate inspection when prescribing a capsule endoscopy. This is what you are seeing on the screen right now. Once the medical staff has set the schedule for capsule endoscopy after discussion with the patient, it is recommended that the medical staff prepare the necessary items for the examination the day before the patient arrives. At this point, the medical staff should check the following 3 items in general. First, check the expiration date and availability of the consumables, including capsules and disposable belts. Second, make sure that the receiver is fully charged. And third, check whether the workstation and the software are working properly. If you find a problem that may interfere with the procedure, please contact the agency or the headquarters by following the emergency response procedure and take the appropriate action. Now, let's take a look at how to check and prepare the 3 items you will be needing for the procedure. In front of me is a capsule case and a data belt. At the back of the MiroCam's case, you will find a sticker attached to it with detailed information about the product. You should pay extra attention to the expiration date and serial number. A capsule that is out of date cannot guarantee the operating time. Next is the receiver. It is important to check the charging status of the receiver. The receiver should be fully charged the day before the procedure so that it can be performed quickly without delay on the day of the procedure. It is important to keep the workstation in the best condition, as well so as to keep the diagnosis software and receiver firmware up to date for a smooth procedure. When a new version of the diagnosis software is released and provided by the MiroCam headquarters or an agent, a firmware update for the receiver is available via the MiroView software. If the firmware update button is activated on the receiver tab, be sure to update it first before proceeding. Next is how to reset the image data of the previous examinee, which remains in the receiver by using the MiroView software, and register the information of the next examinee to the receiver. First, turn on the workstation and run the MiroView software. Go to the receiver tab on the upper left of the software and then press the power button on the right side of the receiver mounted on the cradle for 3 seconds to operate the receiver. If more than one receiver is connected, use the alarm button to identify the receiver for the upcoming procedure, and then click the corresponding port to activate by generating yellow borders for the user to edit and delete it. After confirming that the receiver is connected, press the reset button on the upper screen to delete the previous patient's information and image data remaining in the receiver. Since it is difficult to recover data after reset, please be careful when resetting the data stored in the receiver. Make sure that the patient whose information is to be reset is listed for an upload in the List tab before pressing the reset button to prevent the accidental deletion of clinical data. Once the data reset is complete, the examiner can check the information of the examinee in the receiver. Patient check-in consists of required fields, including the patient name and ID, and optional fields such as height and weight. The examiner can proceed with the procedure without any problem by filling up only the required fields marked with the asterisk. When the patient check-in is complete, turn the receiver off and place it on the cradle to keep it charged until the patient arrives. Here, you are all set for the procedure before the patient arrives. When the patient arrives on schedule for the procedure, the medical staff should move to the endoscopy unit with the capsule, receiver, and the disposable data belt that fits the patient. First and foremost, the medical staff should remove the wrapping paper from the data belt and arrange for the data belt to be worn with the electrode positioned correctly on the patient's abdomen. For the elderly and children with sensitive skin, It is also advisable to apply a medical gel on the abdomen and put a data belt over it. It is recommended that the data belt be worn with the cable facing upwards, and that it is attached tightly to the abdomen to prevent it from slipping off. Now, let's connect the cable of the data belt worn by the patient to the receiver. It is recommended to position the data cable to fit into the groove of the connection on the upper left of the receiver and push it all the way in until you hear a clicking sound. If it is not connected properly, the receiver may fail to receive and save the data transmitted from the capsule. Now that the receiver and the data belt are connected via the data cable, let's see how to link the capsule and the receiver. This is called capsule pairing. It is a process to confirm whether a series of processes is working properly, in which the data sent from the capsule is transmitted to the data belt through the body and saved to the receiver through the data belt. For pairing, press and hold the power button on the right side of the receiver that is connected to the data belt for the few seconds to turn the receiver on. Then you can see an icon on the receiver display indicating that it is ready for pairing. After identifying the related message on the receiver display, the medical staff should guide the patient to remove the capsule wrapper, open the case lid, and hold the dome protective cap to take the capsule out by themselves. For the double-tip capsule, advise the patient to separate the capsule from the case holding the middle part of the capsule and hold the golden plated part with both of his or her thumb and index finger. And for the single tip capsule, advise the patient to take the capsule out by holding the dome protective cap. Instruct them to open it with the thumb and index finger of their left hand. After that, help the patient separate the capsule from the dome protection cap by holding the gold plating at the back of the capsule with the thumb and index finger of their right hand. Let the patient put the dome protection cap down while holding it with their left hand. And again, hold the remainder of the gold plating at the front with the thumb and index finger of their left hand. At this point, it is advised to take the capsule out from below to avoid leaving fingerprints on the capsule dome. The medical staff should constantly check and support the patients to ensure a successful pairing. Rehearsing before the actual pairing by using a capsule for training can also be beneficial to reduce risk. When the patient touches the gold plating on the front and back of the capsule with both fingers, the data from the capsule is transmitted to the receiver through the human body. And the receiver that has received the signal from the capsule shows an icon indicating that recording is in progress on the display with a pairing sound. When the display is locked, the only way to confirm successful pairing is by the SIG LED on the top of the receiver, which should stop flickering and turn blue. Once the pairing is complete, the medical staff should give every encouragement for the patient to swallow the capsule without fear. Bring the patient 1 or 2 cups of water to help them swallow the capsule. During oral administration, care should be taken for the patient not to break the capsule by biting or spitting it out. When the patient swallows the capsule, it can be monitored in real-time video provided by the receiver. To enable the RTV function, press the navy button on the top of the receiver and the power button on the right side of the receiver at the same time to unlock the display. And then press the volume button on the right side of the receiver to play the real-time video. Once confirmed through the RTV that the capsule has entered the gastrointestinal tract and is operating normally, let the patient place the receiver in the pouch to proceed with the remaining procedure more conveniently. Once all preparations are complete, the medical staff should inform the patient of the precautions between the endoscopies for a smooth procedure. The precautions are as follows. Once the receiver is retrieved, according to the hospital policy, mount the retrieved receiver on the cradle to connect the receiver to the workstation. Double check to make sure that the power is on, which is required for connection. You can upload the capsule image that was recorded for 12 hours and stored in the receiver via the MiroView operator. After logging into the software and opening the receiver tab, you can proceed with the upload by clicking the upload button at the top right of the screen. As shown on the screen, the MiroView operator identifies the connected receiver, and you can reconfirm the receiver to be uploaded using the patient information checked into the receiver and the recorded message. Even when the upload is successful on the MiroView operator, it is recommended to run the MiroView client to double check whether the actual video and data have been uploaded without problems. While uploading is in progress, pay attention to managing the power and USB port to avoid disconnection between the receiver and the PC. When the upload is successful and the medical staff in charge of the diagnosis receives the notification, he or she can proceed with the diagnosis using the MiroView client software. After logging into the software, the examiner can identify the patient's data that needs to be interpreted in the List tab, in which the full list of examinations is available. Double-click the item from the list or click the Review tab on the upper left of the screen to start the diagnosis. If an incident needs to be diagnosed by multiple examiners, you can activate the item by clicking it, then right-click to use the Add Review function. When opening the Review tab, the patient's image data taken for 12 hours is available. The Review tab allows playing the video to capture and save the image showing parts suspected as afflicted. The first thing the examiner should do after opening the Review tab is to record the landmarks that distinguish the digestive organs. After finding the first image of each organ, one can set landmarks by using the flag-shaped landmark icon next to the play button, or by placing the mouse cursor over the image and right-clicking the mouse. Now, you can easily and quickly find the first image of each organ by adjusting the time bar with the mouse or using the arrow keys on the keyboard. Now, when the landmark setting is completed, move the time bar to the first image and press the play button to start the full image interpretation. Now, let's set the view layout. On the left side of the play button is a toolbox to set the view layout and play type, respectively. You can select the view layout with the toolbox positioned further to the left and choose whether to view the screen on a single, dual, or quad screen, depending on the preference of the examiner. The Range View function allows viewing the images all together within a specific range, while the Map View function allows viewing all images at a glance. Next, let's get into the play types. The examiner can adjust the playback speed, saturation, and brightness of the image for efficient reading. To adjust the playback speed, use the speed control bar above the playback button. The number above the speed control bar indicates the number of images displayed per second during playback, and then the reverse playback speed can also be adjusted here. The brightness and saturation of the images can also be adjusted. Click the circular button next to the landmark. Then an adjustment window appears like so. By raising the Elise level here, the area of a lesion is seen more clearly. Image improvement. HDR makes the bright areas brighter and the dark areas darker. In case more focus is required, the full screen mode allows for the images to be read in full screen. For the procedure conducted using a bidirectional capsule, the image can be read by selecting the camera direction. It can be selected through the capsule-shaped button in the middle left of the screen, and when running in dual view or quad view, you can read the images filmed by both cameras simultaneously. When all images suspected of lesions are captured in the Review tab, you can go to the Report tab to start writing a report. The examiner can write comments on each captured image in the Review tab and can also enter words that are used repeatedly by using the GI dictionary. In case labeling is required for a specific finding, it can be entered more easily by clicking the Add Finding button. Depending on the examiner's preference, each finding can be further defined by opening the combo box in the entered label. When a specific issue is detected repeatedly in an organ, it is also advisable to use the track function for quick and easy labeling. If a captured image needs marking, you can use the marking toolbox at the top of the screen to build the index. Once filling in medical comments on each image is complete, you can write the overall and comprehensive diagnostic assessment of the issue. You can write comments for the purpose of prescription for capsule endoscopy, what issues have been found in general, and what additional follow-up actions are required. Also, you can use the annotation function to input the comments you frequently use for your convenience. When the report is completed, it is recommended to change the current status to Review Completed in the Home tab on the top left of the screen. It prevents the contents of the reviews from being deleted or changed by other users. Once the writing of the report is complete, you can go to the Export tab on the top left and select images to use in the report by either checking the checkboxes under each image using the mouse, or dragging the desired group of images and right-click to select Check. By placing the cursor on the speech bubble under each image, you can quickly navigate through the comments, which helps to select images to include in the report. Deselecting images can be done in the same way by unchecking. When the images for the report are selected, it can be previewed in a report format by using the Preview button on the bottom right of the screen. In the preview window, you can change the report's layout as well as edit its contents. Exportable file types include PDF, AVI, JPG, and MEC, which can be selected and used according to the hospital environment or the examiner's preference.